This show is brought to you by Whatever You Say Productions, starting conversations since 2018.
Welcome, everybody, to the Game Over Podcast, Episode 2. Joined with me today is Ian. How we doing?
I'm doing well, Kirk. Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. And also we got Bern back from the UK. Steven, how are you?
I'm astronomically amazing.
Well, we're happy to have you back. We're sorry we missed you last week. We got a lot of good stuff to cover this week. So let's just jump right into it. Coming at you first is patch notes. All right. Name of the game today, Reggie Fils-Aimé, the former, well, I guess currently COO, retiring on Monday. Bern, he's in your world. He's part of what you do. How you feeling about it?
It's kind of crazy to see such an icon disappear. This is a guy who's been in charge of such an important part of the gaming world for such a long time. I mean, whoever's got to step into his shoes, that's some big shoes to fill. There's a lot of work to do there, right?
That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Believe we got Doug Bowser as VP of Sales, I believe, taking his place starting April 16th. I believe April 15th is Reggie's last day. Ian, what do you feel about it? You're also in marketing. We're all in marketing, so we should be praising this guy. What do you feel about this?
Marketers unite. But real quick, I want to touch upon, he is getting replaced by the VP of Sales, Doug Bowser. I mean, could you get better? Like, could that name be any better than Doug Bowser?
You're made for that role at that point.
I mean, yeah, basically. You're taking over the helms of Nintendo and your last name is Bowser. But about Reggie, the Reginator, icon. What he did at Nintendo for, I think he started in 2003 as a VP of Sales and Marketing at Nintendo. Amazing. The whole Wii era, the whole Nintendo Switch. I mean, I think if you're going to retire, you're going to be able to retire on top with the Switch just being, it is like right now, one of the hottest gaming consoles it is in the world. So, I mean, if you're going to leave, I like the way that he's leaving on top.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I think it's Bern's behind PC. That's your favorite console, right? Thank you, Reggie, for that.
That's right, man. I mean, one of the crazy things about this is, though, what can we expect from a VP of Sales going into that role? Like, how is he going to take the marketing element of that and stop, focus on the community element, for example, as opposed to just the numbers side? That's really the big question mark here. I'm sure Doug Bowser's a great guy. I don't want to, raid on his parade or anything, but it is a different challenge to do marketing than sales.
I mean, he's got the name to kind of come in and be the villain that is kind of opposite Reginator here, but let's hope he doesn't go into that route. I'm really excited to see what this guy does, and like you said, coming from that sales background, I hope he's got more of that, big picture strategy in mind and thinking about, the customers and getting some really cool stuff out to us. One thing you guys definitely got to check out, I think it was from 2003 E3, Reggie getting up on stage and talking about Zelda Twilight Princess. I mean, the video is just, it's powerful. It's powerful stuff. He's up there and he's announcing, I think, one of the first games that he was, kind of spearheading, and the crowd just goes off with this game. I mean, I never personally played Twilight Princess, but I think we've all played Zelda and can kind of appreciate, that world. Ian, I think I want to direct this one at you. You've seen him speak before, and what do you think it's about him that kind of, he has that charisma to him? What do you think he has that kind of gets the crowd going like that?
I think that his thing that he does extremely well is he can compare himself to the crowd. Be not just this main head guy. He cares about the community, and he has that kind of charisma. And you could show the way he presents himself, not only on stage or through Nintendo, as he truly cares about these things. So he's just like a rock star whenever he hits on those stage. And just to see the reaction, like you said, it's like a sporting event. This guy's up there announcing a video game, and the crowd's going wild. So, I mean, you can't really beat that. That's why it's interesting to see. I really love the point that you guys brought up about Doug Bowser, although phenomenal name again. But a guy, a VP of Sales, you think the marketing aspect and the whole Nintendo community, That's the one interesting thing. And again, right now with Nintendo Switch being so hot, and they are doing extremely well. But this guy's stepping into Nintendo when they're all the way at this peak. Can he continue that trend upwards? Or are we going to see another downfall? So that's what I'm interested to see. I hope Nintendo continues to go up. But yeah, they got big shoes to fill in Reggie.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, when Reggie came in, this was coming off of the GameCube era, which I think we all know kind of how that went. So he had his work cut out for him. And Bern's laughing. Bern, I take it you're not a fan of the GameCube like most other people.
The GameCube completely tanked in Europe and especially in England. It was not appreciated at all. I think I only played one game on the GameCube and that was me. I was done. And that was Luigi's Mansion. You guys remember Luigi's Mansion?
Oh yeah.
That was
Like a spooky
astronomically
version or something?
yeah, it's okay, but at the same time, it was not up to the scratch of other games that were coming out. You know, you had some Resident Evil games at the time that were coming out that were phenomenal. You had some Final Fantasy stuff coming out. It just did not compare. The stuff coming on the GameCube was subpar, kind of at best.
Yeah, and I think that's what was kind of interesting about Reggie's time. One of the things that I learned when I was kind of reading about him is that he was coming into a time when, Xbox was around and Sony was making big moves. They were coming out with all these huge name games. Halo was coming out at that time.
Mhm.
And Nintendo's kind of always had this sort of PG-13 element to him. Element to Nintendo, and he didn't fold underneath that, which is something you kind of got to admire about a guy. He could have easily gone the route of, make some crazy shoot 'em up, violent game, but Nintendo's always been, kind of catered to, in his words, not mine, we're going to be playing with your grandma. And I think he did a really good job with that. He came out with the Wii, and that really, I think, kind of brought gaming back to the living room with your family. I mean, I'm sure plenty of you guys have played games like that with your families before, and it's this guy to thank for it. So I mean, we gotta give it up for him for that. I really respect a guy that doesn't fold under pressure for that.
So I think you're going to have to thank Reggie for that one infamous night in Towson, Kirk, if I remember this correctly. Didn't you, Steve, we are missing you today on the show. I think it was you, Steve, and Kev decided to not go to a party and have a party your guys' self. Can you explain to the listeners what happened?
I will let you guys know, precursor to this, I hate golf. I hate golf in every form. So my friends and I were like, let's try playing Frisbee golf on the Wii. And lo and behold, my hatred for golf transfers to Frisbee golf, and I hated this game also. I was not good at it, but to add insult to injury, we decided the worst person on each hole was going to take a shot of Jack Daniels. After about the third hole, when I had 3 shots under my belt, they decided to add a mercy rule that you couldn't you couldn't be the person that takes a shot back-to-back rounds. So instead of 18, it turned into only 9. Thankful for me. But it was a rough game. But it's still something about it that I really love. The motion control was something that he kind of coined and brought into the world. And even though he led to one of the worst hangovers of my life, I still got to give it up for him.
That was an interesting house to come back to that one night. That was funny. But yeah,
I bet. Awesome. I want to jump right in here with our next segment. We'll leave it off. Reggie Fils-Aimé, thank you for everything you've done. And we'll jump right into Tea Time with Bern.
It's Tea Time with Bern.
All right, segment number 2, Tea Time with Bern. We missed you last week. We're excited to have you on here. What this segment's going to be about is just kind of catching up with our UK correspondent and go over everything that's happening over in Europe and what's happening in the esports scene over there. Bern, what do you got for us this week?
So this week, there's 2 major things I want to talk about. First off, it's the BAFTA Gaming Awards, which were not big for the community of gamers, but very big for the developers of games. And the second point I'm going to cover after that is TwitchCon, which for the first time ever is in Berlin. And we're going to talk a bit more about that in detail. To start off with, though, let's go back to the BAFTAs. The thing about the BAFTAs, for those who don't know overseas, is that the BAFTAs are normally associated with film or television. It's the British Acting Film Television Awards. However, they now also cover gaming. I've actually been to the BAFTA Gaming Awards. It's great fun. Dara O'Brien, if you know of him, comes on and does a lovely little sketch, and we all get drunk on champagne. It's a phenomenal night out.
Fun times for all.
That's right. The thing about it, though, is that it doesn't impact gamers necessarily, except for the fact that it impacts the investment into the studios that are featured there. So if I'm an investor and I'm looking at games, I'm saying, well, who is good this year? And I'm based in the UK. I look at this, and that helps me make my decisions for investment. So some of the awards that actually came out, if we go through them, God of War picked up Best Game, which I can't argue with. It's a great game. Whether or not it's the best game, in my opinion, is questionable. So yes, Fortnite also picked up the Best Evolving Game, which is a brand new award title. It's interesting to note the way that games are going now. Most games that people play regularly tend to be the same game that they're just updating, coming with new content at. Games like League of Legends, obviously Fortnite here. You've got Call of Duty, other titles like that. One interesting point, which I think is going to upset some of my Americans here, Red Dead Redemption 2 is actually made by a UK developer, and yet it did not win a single award.
What?
Not a single award.
I thought Rockstar is UK.
Well, no, Rockstar is the publisher.
Oh,
the actual
please.
developers are UK.
I'm just a student. I'm just a student, Bern.
This 150 independent people need to take a second look. That's insane to me.
They went God of
in their
War.
own home country.
I know, right? And to make matters worse, the best British game was a game that I've literally never heard of. So I'm sorry if you're a fan of it, listeners, but Forza Horizon 4. Never heard of it in my life.
Is that a racing game?
Apparently so.
All right.
I know the Forza series, but I didn't think that was going to be like the best game of all time. It's just racing.
But it completely beguiles me that Red Dead Redemption 2 did not pick up a single award.
Yeah,
There's so many categories it could have fit into.
Do they still have the awards for like best voice acting and stuff like that?
Not currently. At the moment, the BAFTA awards are Best Original Property, Best Music, Best Game Design, Evolving Game as we've covered, Narrative, Best Debut, Mobile Game, Family. It's those kinds of things, but there's nothing for voice acting necessarily.
Right.
What I do find it's just so strange is that a game of that quality wouldn't pick up anything. I could have slotted it into Narrative. I could have slotted it into Original Property, into Audio Achievement in a sense, the way that you hear everything else. So it's such a shame that it didn't achieve what it could have achieved.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They do have the performer category that I'm just checking out, and Ian, you'll appreciate this. The winner of that was The Stranger in God of War, performed by Jeremy Davies. I don't know if that name rings a bell for you, but it might ring a bell that was Upham in Saving Private Ryan.
Wow.
He won an award over there.
Upham. Doing big things ever, not backing up that one guy in the stairwell. So step it up a little bit, Upham. Good for you. That's crazy.
Proud of that.
That's wild. And actually, I just want to make a quick note that I wrote down. I know this is probably an episode in itself, but Kirk, did you pick up that Bern said League of Legends with no reference to Dota?
Yeah, I did. We'll let that slide this time. You get 2 more strikes before I lose it on this podcast.
Don't worry, we'll talk about Dota in relation to Europe later. But for now, let's talk about TwitchCon and the fact that they've made a move to Berlin. Not permanently. It's a one-off event this time. They're going to see how it goes. But it's the first time TwitchCon has ever not been in a US city or state. And that is a big deal because they had 50,000 people attending TwitchCon in 2017. But the place that they're hosting it in Europe, in Berlin, today's the first day as of our recording, only holds 5,000. Now, if that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because I've noticed a few Twitch streamers that are big in the US have made the journey over to Berlin this weekend. And I mean, with only 5,000 people showing up, that's interesting they decided to make that big of a trip. But I guess.
Right? And it's crazy. I guess they're just doubting that it's going to be a success.
Yeah.
I mean, the location is questionable. They could have gone to Cologne. They could have been where Gamescom happens. That place fits hundreds of thousands, not 5,000, you know? But this is the first year they've ever done it there. It's still not seen whether it's going to be a success or not. But the main feature that everyone's talking about is, despite it being in this tiny location, there's a $500,000 Apex Legends Showdown esport event happening.
Ooh.
Nice. I love that game's picking up steam already in, a huge way. I feel like it took a while for Fortnite to kind of get these tourneys under the way, and now Apex is hosting a $500,000 here. That's pretty awesome.
It's insane. I just wish there'd be more people to see it.
Yeah, I know. So
5,000 in attendance.
Yeah, I feel bad for that 5,001. Missed out.
Right. But I mean, it's a cool city to have it in. I think they're probably just kind of feeling it out and testing the waters. I mean, is that kind of your impression, Bern? Do you think that they're just kind of putting it off to the side, or what do you think about the venue with this?
I think they've been highly cautious, and I think maybe they had bigger aspirations to begin with.
All right, so TwitchCon, setting it up in Berlin, 5,000 in attendance. I hope that it's a success. It's going on today and tomorrow. We'll see how it turns out, and hopefully they'll be at a bigger venue next year. I appreciate you giving us tea time with Bern here, Steven. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Always a pleasure.
We're going to jump into our next segment, and it's a special guest this time, Noobs with Boobs. All right, Noobs with Boobs, special guest joining us, Samantha and Adriana. How are you guys doing?
We're here.
Good, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well.
Episode
good.
number 2. Yeah.
Number 2.
Very
Happy
nice.
to have you guys on here. We've been wanting to have you guys on Game Over Podcast in an official sense, not just kind of hopping on here. So we're happy to have you here. I really wanted to just kind of get your perspective for a little bit. I wanted to talk about Samantha's first Fortnite victory ever.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I can't take all the credit. I have to give a shout out to FaZe Donkey on Fortnite. I believe he's about 9 or 10 years old. He got me my first win. And I will say that he did win the game while I was busy dying in a bush. However, I did get us down to only 3 people. We did knock out another squad. So that was great. I got a bing, 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 bing.
Nice.
Little umbrella thing. So yeah, I'm very excited.
And
Adriana's rolling her eyes, I can tell.
How many kills did you finish that match with then?
I think I had 4 kills total.
Nice.
I
Look at you
know.
stepping it up.
Well, it's because you guys made fun of me. You told me to stop getting the gray guns. So I stopped and I went after the blue and the purple and the yellow.
Good
And
tactic.
When you can.
the nice thing is, because the blue gun, I don't know which one it is, but one of the blue guns, you can really zoom in. Adriana and I discovered that fairly recently. And so I just took high ground and I sniped like 3 people, and then I killed one guy point blank with the sniper gun right to his face. Oh man.
Yeah, so we are clearly no longer noobs since we know what we're doing, kind of.
I know. You're going to have to change the handle now that you guys are getting wins and getting 4 kills in a match and knowing how to scope.
I mean, we're not
Stopping
ones to
4
brag, but I
kills.
think we should keep our status as is, because we are not. I am not at the level that you fellas are at, but Adriana's been gaming forever though. So, I mean, I don't know.
Adriana, yeah, talk to us. You've been kind of closet lurking on this. We wanted to have you on here. I gotta know about your gaming history. What's your favorite game from last year, and then let's jump into your favorite game of all time.
I want to start with, I know Ian, he came at me and he said, Adriana, when were you going to tell us that you were a pro gamer? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I've just been playing simulation games for years. My favorite game of all time is The Sims. Ugh, I just love to pretend like my life is as luxurious as it can be on that game, and just other simulation games like that.
Well, wait a minute, Adriana, I need to call you out. What about our history and our friendship, both, in real life, but also with the Kim Kardashian
Oh,
Hollywood
that's
game?
right. Well, that's another
Yes.
simulation type game. It's the
What?
Kim Kardashian Hollywood app.
She
It's
gets me all sorts of things in that game. She always sends me gifts. She gets me crop tops, jewelry, bags, pets, you name
the
it.
goal is to be as famous as the Kardashians in that game. So
And I'm guessing you build up wealth and paparazzi from
Yep.
looking
Yeah.
real
And
fly.
property. Yep, you
Yeah.
open businesses, you purchase property, you adopt babies, you do all sorts of stuff. I'm not very good at it. I just
Please-
look good because Adriana does very well and buys me things.
Please tell me it's a free app. You can pay for this.
I was gonna say that sounds like a game you'd
God
really
forbid
like, Ian.
God forbid she needs more money. Oh,
Ian, would you like to play the Kim Kardashian Hollywood game with
Oh,
us?
please do.
that's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Bern, how about you?
I'm also okay, but I do have a recommendation if you like simulation games.
Okay.
It's a brilliant game. It's called Goat Simulator.
GOAT.
Yeah, like the things that eat your clothes and your sandwiches.
What?
So you just milk them in a simulation sense?
No, you
Oh,
are
no,
a
no.
goat.
You are literally the goat.
Oh,
and
I
not
actually
Tom
really
Brady.
like that.
what do you do? Walk around eating grass all day?
Goats don't
And
eat grass. They do
You
eat
basically
grass,
like
but they eat
destroy everything.
yeah, Adriana, I grew up on a farm. Let me tell you, goats eat anything. They will eat your clothing, they'll eat your electric cords, they eat your paper, they'll eat your tires, they'll eat sticks, they'll eat anything. They'll invite themselves into your home while you have the screen door open, and they will come in and they will eat your couch cushions. So
Oh.
yes, that sounds fantastic. I'm ready.
Yeah, this sounds like the perfect game for Sam.
Yeah,
If
Goat
basically.
you play it,
Simulator.
you'll thank me later. It
Okay.
is phenomenal.
All I just think is goats and that quote, I have nipples, Greg, can you milk me?
Ew. Yikes.
Sorry. That's just a little side tangent.
That's
But
the expansion to Goat Simulator.
Well, I think so. I've never played Sims before, Adriana. Wait, so Ian and Kirk and Steve, have you guys played Sims? Bern, I'll start with you.
I have played European Truck Simulator, and
Oh,
before
hell
you
yeah.
judge me, it's amazing.
Excuse me. Okay. Ian, have you ever played The Sims?
I absolutely played The Sims. I forget the last one I played, but if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, Adriana, is it Rosebud or comma, just redo it and you just get, you make it rain money?
That was like 10 years ago. It's not that anymore. It's a Motherload or Kaching.
Oh, they changed it.
Or you could
Well-
just write money and then type in $1 million and then you get $1 million.
Yeah, that's not bad. I just,
Wouldn't that be nice?
yeah, all I remember about the Sims for me is having a sweet pool in the backyard and then just being a young crazy kid and taking away I think it was you just take away how do you get out of a pool? I can't even come with
The ladder?
A ladder. Yeah.
Ladder.
And they just swim around and they can't get out until they just fall asleep and then they eventually die. So that's all I remember about the Sims.
Well,
What
I
a
guess I-
lovely, touching memory, Ian. Thank you for sharing that.
Dark, very dark.
Wait,
That got
Kirk,
dark
have
real
you ever
quick.
played Sims?
So I haven't, but I will give a shout out to my little sister because that was the game that got her into gaming. She, whenever I wasn't around, she would hop on my computer and play Sims. I'd come home and say, "Get off! I got a raid."
Priorities.
Priorities.
I've never played. I did play the Oregon Trail, but my favorite
Yes.
game of all time that I've ever played is Mario Party. And nobody will tell me otherwise. The favorite game that I've watched more than I've played is Prince of Persia, which I know I've already said, so I'll sit down now. But yeah, I
Oh,
just
cool.
really I seriously, it was so bad. My history with Mario Party, I have a problem. So back in 2000, whatever the heck that was, I got swine flu, but not before I made friends with the guys down at my local GameStop who allowed me to buy a Nintendo GameCube, which I know, Bern, you already said it was not appreciated in the UK.
Taboo, especially on this episode.
Yeah.
But it was very appreciated when it was with me in my bedroom as I was basically dying. And I got Mario Party 2, 3, and 5. And I played that relentlessly for a month and a half. And that's how I got over the swine flu. So yeah, that's my favorite game to date. But I will say I've played it on N64 or GameCube. I've also played Mario Party on Wii, and I hate it on Wii. It's just stupid. Like, either have me stand up the whole time or don't have me stand up at all. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that.
Oh my
Anyone
God!
else?
On the same episode that we are praising Mr. Fils-Aimé,
I'm
you are
sorry.
2 for 2 right now, Sam.
I'm sorry. You know what? I'm just your producer, and I'm just a noob. That's all I am. I'm nothing but a noob with boobs.
Well, that is true. Noobs with boobs. We're happy to have you here. We hope to see you again in another episode soon. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for
We are
having
gonna,
us.
yeah, absolutely. We're gonna jump right into our last segment, screen time. All right, guys. Last segment of episode 2, screen time. This is where we not necessarily jump into gaming related movies or shows, but just kind of what's going on, what's popular right now. And I would be remiss to not bring up Game of Thrones premiering tomorrow.
Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage.
Thank you, Ian.
No
Excellent
problem.
rendition of the intro.
Thank you.
Guys, I'm beyond excited for this. I know that Ian is. Bern, are you a fan of Game of Thrones? Please say yes.
Absolutely. How could I not be a fan of Game of Thrones? Everyone speaks with a British accent. They're all British actors. Everywhere looks amazing, and they kill each other all the time. It's just like the north of England.
I'm so glad that you answered that correctly. Otherwise, I was gonna have to kill you. I was gonna have to get a ticket, go over there, and kill you. Game of Thrones final season, though. I've been catching up again, rewatching the last season for. I think this is my third time. Watched with my fiance this past week. Ian, how's it ending? What's gonna happen?
Man, I don't think we have enough time to truly discuss and delve deep into the depths of who's going to end up on the Iron Throne. But I mean, gun to my head, I'm going to have to go with Daenerys Targaryen. I just think that's what's going to happen. I think Jon Snow's gone. It's just the one thing I'm how the hell do you beat the Night King? That's just my only question.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 2 dragons, R.I.P. I think Viserion is the one that they lost beyond the wall. Spoilers, sorry. But I think that's their biggest help. But I mean, if you guys remember from last season, he just hucked that spear, knocked him out of the sky, and now he's got his own dragon. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword, wouldn't you say, Bern? If they bring these dragons and something happens, and then all of a sudden it's not just 2 dragons versus the Night King, it's 3 dragons versus the humans. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think that's exactly the problem. Like, they can't just go at it and be like, hey, just dragons, that solves all problems. Just fire. Yeah, fire. More fire, please. No,
bring it
that's
all.
not gonna work. She could have 1,000 dragons. Actually, no, 1,000 dragons probably would win.
I think he'd win.
But
that might be enough.
2 dragons versus 1 Night King boy and a proper ice dragon, like undead ice dragon. No, it's not going to happen, is it? To be honest with you, if you ask me who's going to be on the throne at the end of this all, I'm just going to go with my heart, not my gut. This is never going to happen. But Tyrion, you're my king.
Yes,
that's who deserves it.
he has been through so much, and my old coworker is making her way through it. I don't know if she finished this week. She was getting very close, but I just remember her coming in the day after she saw the Mountain versus the Viper, and she was just devastated because she didn't see what happened after that, and she was like, are they going to kill him? Is his dad going to kill him? What's going to happen? And I mean, he's a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. I would be happy to see him on the Iron Throne. I think Ian would be happy to see him there too.
Just if I was not going with my gut and just going with my heart, yeah, it's Tyrion for sure.
Tyrion. I mean, do we have any speculation of like, what if the Iron Throne doesn't even make it through this season? What if it's just Ash at the end of the season?
I mean, it's that's the whole thing. I mean, I'm going to bring it back to that one point that you brought up with when the Night King threw that ice spear and killed the dragon. I just want everybody to notice that when he threw that, I don't even think he like crop topped. He just stood there, took maybe one step, and just speared the shit out of that dragon. So, I mean, he's going to be how they're going to beat him. I think they are. I don't know how they're going to do it. The dragon things, there's already been like a few episodes when they go back. It's like dream sequences and stuff like that where they go back to the Iron Throne and it's all in ash and stuff like that. Is that the way it's going to end in real life? I'm going to say no because I think the writers are smarter than that, obviously. So I realistically don't know. I just think if he's gun to my head, again, Daenerys, she's going to end up on the Iron Throne.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it ends. I hope it ends well. But as our faithful friend Ramsey Bolton once said, if you think this has a happy ending, you have not been paying attention.
Very true. Very true. And actually, Kirk, I know that we used to do this back in the Evesham days, but I'm going to bring it here to Game Over as well. I'm sure you remember this, but Bern, this is what we used to do. I mean, we could throw some money on it if you guys want to. I mean, I know Kirk just got that new gig, baby. You're rolling in the dough. But,
love gambling. But Kevin Malone from The Office.
If we're going to see, right now it's Saturday, we're recording. Game of Thrones premieres tomorrow night. So the bet is, Bern, if you were to make the bet, opening scene, where does it start?
Oh boy. If I was to bet, this is not me saying I'm betting, but if I was to bet, I think it's going to start at the wall, right?
That's a good one because I would initially think it starts at the wall, but correct me, it doesn't end at the wall last season, right, Kirk?
Yeah, the last scene of last season was the ice dragon bringing the wall down and the army of the dead marching on through.
Yeah, that's true too. But also, if you guys remember, the first opening scene of the entire series itself was north of the wall. So that's the one thing where I think if it ended last season on the wall, I wouldn't think that it would start the last season at the wall.
Yeah.
But all right. So that was 500 pounds, right, Bern?
Yeah, I think that's what he said.
All right. What do you mean you don't bet? I don't bet. But anyway, I mean, now I'm going to pass it to you though, Kirk.
My guess for the opening scene, I mean, based on them ending it at the wall, I'm going to go the complete opposite, and I'm going to say it opens up with Cersei in King's Landing. I'm going as far as I can possibly go from geographically from Bern's guess. I think it's going to start down there because if you remember, the season ended with her lying to Jaime and saying, we're not going to be sending our troops up there to fight with them. We're going to wait it out here and kill who's ever left if they got to fight the army of the dead or if they actually win. So I'm saying Cersei down at King's Landing. Ian, what do you think? What are you saying?
Son of a bitch. It's close. I was going to pick that. But if it's going to open, I think it's going to open with Euron Greyjoy in the open seas coming back to King's Landing. With a lot of people forget that the reasoning, everybody thought, right, that he was running away from the White Walkers. Whereas if you were paying attention, like you just mentioned before, Cersei told you before the series ended, or the season ended, that she's not that stupid. She sent them for a reason. He's coming back with the Golden Boys. Jesus, what's their name? I feel terrible. Why am I...
No, you had it almost right. The Golden Company, 20,000 strong mercenaries ready to kill, or at least until they see the army of the dead and they're like, F this, I'm out of here.
And they got dicks too, unlike the other guys.
Yeah, that's the thing that they got on the Unsullied.
You got to put that in perspective. So that's where I think it's going to open. Euron Greyjoy on the boat, his fleet coming back to King's Landing with the boys in gold. That's what I'm going with.
I could see that. That's kind of a commanding intro to the last season. So we've got the Golden Company coming back with Euron for Ian. Mm-hmm. We have the Night King and the Army of the Dead at the wall for Bern, and I'm saying Cersei's going to be doing something mischievous at King's Landing. And 500 pounds we've got on this, and we'll see who comes out the victor for this.
We got to do the conversion right there. How much that U.S.
What is that, like $700, Bern?
Something like that, yeah.
All right, let's see. All right, so you heard it here, guys. 500 pounds.
One of those three. Guys, I'm excited for the premiere tomorrow. I'm even happier about episode 2 of Game Over now down. Let's close this bad boy out. I've been Kirk. You can find me at Kirk from Game Over. Got Ian.
Yep, you got me, and you can find my ass at Ian from Game Over.
And we've got Bern from the UK.
And you'll find me at Bern Gaming.
And you've just listened to Game Over. We'll catch you guys next week.
Later, guys.
Thank you for listening to Game Over.
Brought to you by Whatever You Say Productions, starting conversations since 2018. To learn more, join us at GameOverThePodcast.com.